is 19 hours 21 in Guyana, right across the Eastern Caribbean. Namaste to you, brothers and sisters, and welcome to this Monday, April 4th edition of the Glenn Lall Show. As you know, we come here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 19 hours 20. Mr. Lall will make his presentation this evening. Of course, we welcome him, and of course, after which we'll open our telephone lines for you to call us and have that conversation with us, whether it's a question, a comment, or you just want to clarify something. Those numbers in advance for you to call. I encourage you to keep it down as well. Write it down rather. 226-7453-4. That is 226-7453 or 226-7454 and 622-2222. Those of you joining us on our social media pages, the numbers are scrolling on our screen, and of course we will put those numbers in the comment section. With that said, I hand you over to the man of the moment. Sir, namaste to you. The floor is yours in this bright Monday evening.
And all the other guests we have sitting here, Bernard, Ms. Harris, and Mr. Ray Dagars. Namaste, gentlemen and madam. You know, when everybody can see water is boiling and your politicians, people like the Vice President Bharrat Jagdeo and your opposition leader refuse to admit or accept water is boiling. What does that tell you, Bernard?
They want to see things.
They don't want to see things? Or their eyes you need to send them to
Dr. Duki.
Doctor, no, you send them to Miss Ming. Miss Ming or there's Dr. De Silva, yes. You gotta send them there. Huh? You know, the water is so hot in this country. And the water is hotter than the produced water from what Exxon, right?
Yep.
Is dumping into the ocean. And our leaders refuse to see that. I don't know, man. You guys would have to help me. Tell me where Guyana is heading down the road. Joshua?
Yes, sir.
Namaste, sir.
Namaste.
Joshua, it's not a nice thing. It's not nice to say to peaceful, kind-hearted, beautiful and loving people, danger lurks around in the air for them. Bernard, is that a nice thing to tell people?
No, but you have to.
Nobody wants to hear danger is ahead of them.
Bad news.
But I always believe that you have to call a spade a spade. A spade can never be a shovel, a fork, or the apple to eat. And that has been one of the greatest mantras that I stood for during my 28 years in the newspaper business. Mr. Ray, I just want to announce to you and to the entire audience that is listening to me here that on April 4th, 1994 was the first edition of the Kaieteur News. So, Ms. Harris, we are celebrating 28 years of this newspaper today.
Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you. I owe you guys a drink. Let me make use of this forum to say a big thank you to you all. Whether you support the newspapers or not, I couldn't be more happy to have become a household name in Guyana and around the world for all these years. During the course of those years, we would have brought out the good, the bad, the ugly, and the indifferent in society. We did it all. As the boss, I am happy and proud of the role myself and the people who worked, the staff I'm talking about, who worked with me throughout those years to this day. I am extremely proud and happy. Looking back at what we did, would I do it different, Bernard? No. Would I have done it differently to avoid lawsuits? I don't think so. Some things have to be said the way it was said, and I have no qualms about anything I have done. The only thing I would or could have done differently was, had I had the options to save the lives of those 5 pressmen that were murdered, gunned down in that press room, yes, I would have done it differently. Other than that, I am satisfied with the role this news outfit has played in this country for the last 28 years. Let me once again say thanks to all of you for your support. I have a few haters in the political spectrum, but when you weigh the haters against the lovers, the lovers outweigh them, and that brings me great joy every single moment or every day. Each day, uncle and auntie, that passes by, the danger becomes larger and clearer. And many, many days I quietly say to myself, if there wasn't the Kaieteur news in this country, wow, I leave the rest for you to answer. From the very first day Guyana announced the discovery of oil, Miss Harris,
Yep.
I tried to find someone who can honestly say that Guyana got a great deal with that oil contract. I am still to find a human being with such an answer, with the exception of ExxonMobil, Vice President Bharrat Jagdeo, and the opposition leaders. The leaders of this country, especially Bharrat Jagdeo, have allowed ExxonMobil and others to take our oil blocks free. On top of that, we settled for the worst oil deal ever in the history of mankind. Bharrat Jagdeo and the opposition have also allowed ExxonMobil and others to walk away without paying their rightful share of taxes. The laws of Guyana provides for allow them to walk away without safeguarding this country and the region at large with something called full cover insurance. As you guys know, in January, I filed a case against our government in the High Court, which challenges the discriminatory tax provisions and breach of the laws in the Stabroek Block oil agreement with ExxonMobil and its partners. With the help of a few lawyers and 2 friends, we are challenging this tax giveaway and breach of the law. Uncle and auntie, here is an update as to where the matter stands. Last month, Exxon's and their partner applied to the High Court to join the government to respond to the case filed by me, saying they have a vested interest in the matter. In their filings to the High Court, they spoke of the billions of US dollars they invested in the drilling activities and how many billions more they were likely to lose if they are not allowed to participate or have a chance to put in their defense in this case. They were eventually allowed to be a party to the case because I nor the government opposed for them to join. Since then, uncle, both the government and the oil players have filed their defense. In the government defense, our Attorney General Anil Nandalal denied that there was any breach of the law, contending that their agreement with the oil company is a matter of private law. It's the first time I'm hearing something about private law.
Private resources.
But let's move on. The oil companies, on the other hand, say that Glenn Lall, in his private capacity, has no right to file the legal action in this scenario. They said it's the Attorney General that has responsibility for defending the rights of citizens in a civil lawsuit. First time I'm hearing that too. But in the same document, just a couple of spaces below this argument, the oil company is questioning the reason why Glenn Lall is bringing the action now, after he sat on his hands for 5 years since the agreement went through in 2015. The oil companies also argue strongly that the government of Guyana has been legally empowered to modify the petroleum law in favor of their contractual agreement, which provides the company with broad tax waivers. Uncle and Auntie, more to come as the case is set to continue on April 22nd, 2022 at 1 p.m. before Justice Nareshwar Harnanan. I will keep you informed. Yes. So, I am fighting against two giants now, not one. The government of Guyana and ExxonMobil. Let's see where this takes us and where it goes. Bernard, I didn't say namaste to you. I like to say a special namaste to you.
Namaste.
Because we are celebrating 28 years today in the newspaper industry. And come on, you can't tell me that we haven't done a great job.
Wonderful job.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Uncle and Auntie, you should give me a clap for that. I went through a lot with the newspaper, you know.
Yeah.
Forget about lawsuits, I went through a lot. There's an urgent, I shouldn't say urgent, I should say there's an unjust war presently going on in Ukraine, started by Russia. You guess you hear about it, right? The world know about it. Several thousands of innocent lives have already been slaughtered, and more is falling by the hour as I speak. When it is over and done with, history will be written. Several documentaries and movies will be made for generations to look back at. When unspeakable, atrocious, or terrible acts are committed against mankind, it is recorded for history so that generations to come can look back and learn. That's not true, man?
Definitely.
Yeah, man. In November 1978, I was a young man. Jim Jones killed 914 at one shot right here in Guyana. The death of those people was instant. That crime has been known throughout the world as the crime of the century. Movies were made about it. You remember the name? I don't remember the name. But movies were made about it. Uncle?
The Guyana tragedy.
Uncle, what is taking place in Guyana today, in 2022, before our very eyes, with our wealth, especially our oil resources? more so with the leaders of this land. Crime. You will have to rename this crime of the century. What is taking place here now? You will have to find it will become crime of several lifetimes. Jim Jones is slowly fading away. This one with Exxon and Jagdeo will be for centuries to come, uncle and auntie. Generations will spring up one after the other, and they will ask, yes, they will ask with hungry stomachs and in pain, what, why, and who created such a disaster for them? Why did the people at the time, meaning us, not spare them this agonizing life they have to endure? You following me? Thank you. Jim Jones executed those 914 souls, living souls. What Vice President Jagdeo and President Ali, along with the silent opposition, is doing now is slowly killing generations to come with their selfish, greedy, and corrupt nature that has engulfed their souls. I remember back in the 80s, men used to put on masks and in the wee hours of the morning kick down the doors of weak and vulnerable citizens, rape, torture, rob and murder innocent citizens just to satisfy their own selfish, greedy needs. It had all the people of this country at the time, man, in a terrible state of fear. So much fear that by the time the sun went down back in those days, some of you would remember, all doors across this country were secured and people used to take turns to look out for their safety. Bernard, you were wrong?
Yes.
You remember? I was around. I was a young boy. A matter of fact, I was a victim to that same kick down door bandits when they came in my home back in 1989. What happened here in 2022 in broad daylight with Exxon Mobil and Jagdeo, words cannot describe the fear, the danger that lies ahead for present and future generations. Auntie, our leaders are not hiding their faces by putting on masks and using guns to inflict pain, maim, disfigure, rape, torture, and murder like the bandits in the 80s. They are using their pens to sign off death warrants and emails to spread the news to the world. The danger is large and so clear that everyone can see it from the moon. But because of greed and corruption, our leaders are the only ones who turn their eyes away, refusing to see the danger for us and future generations. On my program last Friday, I promised you a special program about this fourth project called the Yellowtail, the grandfather of all evil so far. Lisa 1 and 2, which pumping 340,000 barrels of oil per day, were granted permission by the coalition government for ExxonMobil to begin operations in Guyana. Both projects was a sellout or let's say a terrible mistake, blunder was made, in which, simply put, this nation was robbed and raped. This whole region is left in the streets with our clothes off because until now they didn't secure full insurance. Yes, full insurance. That is just to name one of the dilemmas we face. Vice President Jagdeo knew all the mistakes of both projects and should have corrected them before granting the third project Payara. Let me repeat again, Uncle. He could have held back that Payara project and claw back some real cash for the poor people of this nation. Instead, this man, Jagdeo, closed his eyes to all the mistakes and granted Exxon that permit on a platter without even securing a single cent, knowing that we are living with a lopsided, a one-sided contract in which this country has nothing to get. 10 billion American dollars in bills thrown at us by ExxonMobil. He did not verify or check it and blame it on people rather than himself. Yes, he blamed people rather than himself. So we have to pay it as is. That same third one he approved is another 10 billion American dollars. And we only have, like I said many times, a few more months to verify that too. Or we pay it again as is. This is how Bharrat Jagdeo keep running this trillion US dollar oil sector in Guyana. And President Ali with the opposition. And all of you are silent. They all could have held ExxonMobil at ransom because of the lopsided, one-sided contract we sign on to, and ring ExxonMobil bees so that we could have gotten a better deal from the third project. But Jagdeo approved it in a day, and every Guyanese remained silent. On to this day, Uncle, Guyana and the region is living without one of the basic protections for cover insurance from those three projects. Time is running out to verify the 10 billion in bills on that same third project. To date, we have gotten nothing from that third project. So basically, we are still screwed. Not only with one, two, but also with the third one that Jagdeo signed off in a day. When Bharrat Jagdeo and the government announced the fourth project, Yellowtail, I would have talked several times on this program about it. I even named it the grandfather of all evil. I even bet all Guyana that Bharrat Jagdeo would approve this fourth project and don't achieve anything for the Guyanese people. So said, so done. Friday gone. Like a thief in the night or a kick down door in the wee hours of the morning, this nation were told that the fourth project Yellowtail has been approved by the government of Guyana. Yes. Again, every citizen thought that Jagdeo and the government would have seized this fourth project, that ExxonMobil desperately wants to squeeze the hell. Let me repeat. Every citizen thought that Jagdeo and the government would have seized this fourth project that ExxonMobil wants so desperately and squeeze the hell out of them for the benefit of all the Guyanese people. Again, the Vice President Bharrat Jagdeo deliberately wasted this opportunity threw it away, pelt it out the window, did not try to get a better deal for you, the Guyanese people. He didn't even achieve the insurance protection. Again, we so badly need from the parent company of ExxonMobil and the others. What is this intelligent, smart man Bharrat Jagdeo really doing with this US $1 trillion business that he's heading? Can somebody help me, Bernard, to understand what is going on in this land, man?
Not needed.
Huh? Mr. Ray, can you help me?
We are struggling just like
Miss Harris? You know, Auntie,
Beggars believe.
one would have expected on such a major national issue, this fourth project in which Guyana could have paid off its debt. Yes, Guyana could have paid off its debt and bring in cash that can triple people's salaries, give every household a handsome monthly money, that Bharrat Jagdeo would have at least respected the Guyanese people and hold a press conference to share what he did. That is what a true leader, an honest leader, a genuine leader, a leader who cares for its peoples, a leader who is looking out for the best interests of its citizens with their own resources, who are expecting so much from him as a leader would have done. Instead, this honest, bright, and decent leader sent out an email to the world on a $10 billion project notifying us that he has approved, yes, approved the grandfather of all evil, the fourth project for ExxonMobil. You guys with me, man? Or am I speaking to myself? Yeah?
We with you.
Man,
We pampered.
I wish I could have sing a song to enlighten your spirits, uncle. Oh, gosh. Oh. Because I don't know. I really don't know what kind of leader would do something like that. You know? Don't have the honesty and courage to face the people and say, this is what I am about to do, or this is what I did, or I have done. And this is the man President Ali put to head our future. Me and you future. I have always known since back in 2007 when they built a school on the island of Wakanam where I was born, a flat school for $55 million, when that school could have been built for less than $12 million at the time. Wow, I always know that Bharrat Jagdeo was, is, and still would be a national disaster for this country and its people. Yes. Everything that Jagdeo touched or touches has and would become a national disaster. I dare anyone to prove me wrong. Call in or message me right now. 624-6456. Man, every oil export in this world is talking about this terrible deal given to this country by ExxonMobil. Look around and see how your brothers and sisters are living. Hear their cries and feel their pains, and you will get an idea of what I'm talking about. Open some children lunch kits, even to the ones The ones that go into the top schools, and you will see what's inside. Speak to the teachers. Speak to the policemen and women. Speak to the nurses, the cleaners, the soldiers, all the public servants, and you will get an understanding of how they live. Man, many people can't pay their light bill, their water bill, their rent in this country. That your president going to Dubai and say how rich we are, and our vice president who ran this country 10 years as president, now in charge of the oil sector, as a habit, Bernard, keeps shifting his responsibilities and failures to the underlings who cannot speak out or defend themselves for fear of losing their jobs. Yeah, man. Let me share two quick examples so you understand what I'm talking about. When Jagdeo, was asked about full cover insurance, he told one of my reporters the first time, "You're not going to get nothing new on that from me." The second time, he told the reporter they are working to have ExxonMobil acknowledge up to $2 billion US insurance. And the third time, yes, when he was confronted, he told the reporter he's not dealing with that anymore. EPA is dealing with it from now. Yes. Yeah, he threw the hot potato, yes, of full insurance out of his hands into the laps of them young people at EPA. You hear that, Ms. Harris? The second example, he did not verify the 10 billion US dollar. Yes, Exxon threw at us from Lisa 1 and 2. He blamed everybody else but himself. You guys remember, man, how disappointed he said he was. That's the man you have to deal with. That's your leader. Yes, Bharrat Jagdeo. He has been doing that all his life as leader of this country, shifting responsibility and blaming others for he alone mistakes. Now it's being revealed after he would have said he couldn't find people to audit the books of ExxonMobil. Yes, that two companies refuted what he said, one from Texas and one from right here in Guyana. Both sent in their applications to audit ExxonMobil costs. When he tell us he couldn't find people to audit the books, the bills. The auditing firm in Texas is headed by a lawyer. The man said when he called the Department of Energy to follow up on his application, they told him they couldn't find it. When the gentleman keep on calling, they said they find it, but they never responded to him or his company unto this day. Hear that? Then a Guyanese, Azhar Hanif, came out publicly in the Kaieteur news and said they too were waiting on a response from the government on their applications to audit the ExxonMobil bills. Hear you? There you go, uncle. That's the man Bharrat Jagdeo, the honest, decent and bright leader this country has. He tell us he couldn't find. Now we are hearing that two reputable companies, yes, sent in their application. That 10 billion US dollar, Bernard and Mr. Ray, knowing how ExxonMobil and the oil companies does operate, man, you are robbed 5 billion out of that 10. Yes, at a minimum. Uncle? And all Guyana debt is less than how much? $3 billion. Do I need to say more? The other 10 billion for the third one, he sign after. Gonna pass again. And you're gonna be robbed at least another 5 billion. And Guyana will still left with that 3 billion debt. And whatever is added to it. Because every day they're borrowing money. And you can hear Bharrat Jagdeo will say again, he can't find nobody to verify the bills.
We disappointed again.
And he's disappointed again. He can't find nobody to verify the bills. Yeah. That's the man you don't know about. 28 years today, I am in the newspaper business, the Kaieteur News. I have been dealing with him and all of them since 28 years. Since 1999, I know some of them. Not yesterday, uncle. So whatever I say, I know what I'm saying. I'm not guessing or talking from another man's mind, head, or stomach. I am speaking from my heart because I know them. He got the oil minister, that man that named Bharrat, running, ducking and hiding from the press. The same way he moving in the night. My reporter has been messaging Bharrat since February 25th, uncle and auntie. Let me repeat it. Since February 25th, we are in April 4th. For an update on the audit of the $10 billion for this third project. She first called him and then began using WhatsApp message. At least 5 occasions, she messaging him for information as to where the government is on this 10 billion audit. He kept on shifting, dodging and hiding from the reporter. In one instance, he sent her a document and told her to read it. The girl was so happy. She said, wow, finally, the Minister of Oil responded. When the girl opened the document, Ray, guess what? It has nothing to do with the audit. Was something totally unrelated to the audit. He first promised her an update and then he stopped. He stopped taking her calls. He messaged a few times. Then he gone blank. Meaning, don't call his phone or text him no more. To hell with Guyana. This is how Bharrat Jagdeo and Bharrat are managing this trillion oil sector. And President Ali is running to Dubai to tell them that Guyana doesn't want to be a Dubai. We just want to be ourselves. The best we can be, though. His words, not mine. Tell me something, Guyana.
Yes, move on.
What are all these national leaders really selling, man? Underwear or oil? Or they're selling something else, man? What really we selling, man?
Sell the integrity.
Huh? Huh?
Common sense.
You have a government that has just released an EPA permit for the 4th project. And 2 days later, our Vice President Jagdeo issued a license for ExxonMobil to bring up oil? Huh? Uncle? Guys, this thing is unthinkable. Unbelievable. I just want you guys to understand the difference between an EPA permit and this license that Jagdeo issued, this production license. It's important for you, for your ears. The EPA, our Environmental Protection Agency, is responsible for safeguarding and protect the environment, uncle. For example, if flaring is going on, if flaring is going to impact negatively on the lives of the Guyanese people, then the EPA has a duty to remedy that. They need to come down and say, hey, ExxonMobil, you can't do that. If, for instance, the oil company used the dump site to bury their deadly chemicals, and those chemicals pose a risk to the water we drink, then the EPA gets involved. If these hazardous plants, them setting up all over the place to deal with the deadly chemicals too, if those plants can damage the health of citizens that live nearby, EPA steps in, and of course, they deal with it. In the case of insurance, yes, Jagdeo was right when he said EPA will deal with the insurance, because insurance is also part of the EPA to secure this nation and this region in the event of a disaster. Did we get that coverage in the Fort Project, uncle? No, not as yet. And don't ask me when, I don't know. I just bring this to your attention, uncle and auntie, so that you know that EPA deals with these types of issues. They do not deal with anything relating to money. You hear me, Bernard? EPA does not deal with money. What we get out of these projects, them don't deal with that. Or how much we giving away on these projects. EPA has nothing to do with that. EPA just deals with our safety and our protection. The production license now, on the other hand, is the one headed by no other than Guyana's financial guru, Bharrat Jagdeo. He is the man who is responsible for issuing that license after EPA would have granted their approval. Everything is okay. So the EPA granted the permit, everything is okay, without full cover insurance, yes, and still they say everything okay. And I don't know what else, but we can get to that later. When them grant the permit, then Bharrat Jagdeo look at that, and yes, it's his turn to issue ExxonMobil this production license for start bring up oil. This is where he can use the trump card, the leverage to ring in money that can pay off all Guyana's debt. Every single debt Guyana has. You hear that? The leverage he can, the power he has in his hands, he can use that to bring in money in every household we got across this country. Did he do that in this Fort Project, uncle? Bernard?
Not at all.
We don't know as yet. No, we don't know as yet. I cannot give my mouth full liberty. What I can say for now is that 2 days after EPA issued the permit, Jagdeo signed the contract approving the Fort Project without ensuring EPA gotten full cover insurance. You hear that? That one for sure we can talk about that. With that license he issued, uncle, like I said before, the government has the power to claw back value for Guyana and every citizen of this country. They can put in terms that addresses the tax giveaway. He can improve that 2% royalty. They can increase the 50-50 profit sharing percentage. They can remove all the loopholes that ExxonMobil taking advantage on us with. But the government has not released this document as yet. So little or nothing can be said about how much more value they give away or how much more they get for Guyana. You get me clear?
Confidentiality clause.
Yes. No. That document isn't released yet. He just approved it. The EPA permit release. But the production license that he issued, that document have not been released as yet. They promised to release it over the weekend, but on to now, it has not been released. I will, in subsequent update and keep you informed as to what Jagdeo did with his fourth project. Man, you didn't check 10 billion in Liza 1 and 2 costs. You still didn't check another 10 billion in the third project, Payara. Time running out on that, and you gone and grant a fourth project with another 10 billion American dollars and have a time limit on that one too, man? Huh? You know anybody who runs business like this, man? Huh?
You're a sensible person.
You didn't check the cost. The man said he spent on your first mango tree, the second mango tree. The time to check the cost on the third mango tree, they're running out. And you going to allow the man to spend more money on the fourth mango tree, man? Knowing you dealing with a crook, a thief, a scam, a gangster of the highest order? Huh? Man, Miss Harris, if anybody do that, they got a special feeling for a man to allow him to do that. Huh?
Must be.
And more so, you know the man robbing your family blind, and yet you allowing the same man to spend more money on another mango tree. That man got to have a sugar stick for you, man. And uncle, if you all think I finished there, no, you lie. Listen this one. ExxonMobil just announced today. You hear this one? Today, them sent in another application to Bharrat Jagdeo for the 5th project. This is beyond sugar stick now, man. These people got nerve, eh? Huh?
Is it?
The 5th project ExxonMobil announced, not the 4th. You don't check 3rd, right? You run away and again not money for grant another 4th one, but we don't know yet. And ExxonMobil got the nerve to tell this nation that them don't submit another application to Bharrat Jagdeo for the 5th project.
What you want to bet in a pool is 7 to 8 and 9 by the time he's finished. Before the next election.
These people got nerve, eh? And Bharrat Jagdeo playing with the lives and livelihood of this nation and future generations. Let me ask this, man. Are we going to let them continue with this? Come on, people. Say something, man. Do something, man. Help me to do something then. I don't carry them to court for taxes. 2 friends and myself had to find little money to pay the lawyers. Well, it's not even big money. Wait, man. I got to take them to court for this 4th project too and this 5th one too. Huh? You know, Bernard, I came out my home. I leave my grandchildren them on Christmas Day to hold a special program
I remember.
on the new law. The PPP government wanted to push through Parliament. Yes. When all Guyana was drunk celebrating the Christmas holidays. You guys remember that, man? The government did not allow the opposition to have a say in Parliament on that bill. They hurriedly passed the bill through. You remember, man? 2 days after Ali signed it into law, so that he and Bharrat Jagdeo can take out the oil money and spend it how they feel like. Yes. So said, so done. They done decide to take out all the money. I think it's 700 and something million US dollars. Sitting in the bank to spend out in this 2022 budget. They are not going to take that money to pay off on the debt Guyana got. They're going to say they're spending it in the 2022 budget, in which the all will disappear. Not on projects, but hey, do I need to spell it out too? No, I don't have to. Now today, the opposition filed a lawsuit in the High Court saying that the law they passed was not properly done. We're carrying that story tomorrow in the Kaieteur news. Please read it. You hear that? Today the opposition filed a lawsuit against that new law, the bill that was passed, saying that it wasn't passed properly.
Mother said the joke.
At least the opposition opening their foot on the oil money. Melinda Janki, one of my heroes, and a man named Troy Thomas, took the EPA to court for environmental breaches by the oil companies and won. I was told in the streets that this fourth project, Jagdeo issue, will end up in the courts too by some people. I am so happy that people are waking up. Wow, and that I don't have to take
Fight you alone.
and this fight on by myself, all alone. Oh my gosh. You know, I don't know what else to say, but I want to take it easy. I've talked enough.
Yes, thank you.
From Wednesday, I'm going to talk half an hour because I need to interact with some of the listeners more rather than talk. But it's so difficult, you know, Bernard. It's difficult to hold back these issues, you know,
Definitely.
and not informing the nation, because many of them does not have the funds to purchase a newspaper. Yes, good evening, sir. Dr. Vincent Adams.
Hey, Glenn,
I have you.
buddy?
I have you live on the air. I would have.
Okay,
I would have.
okay.
I would have been. I have been reporting to the nation about the Ford project. The EPA granted their permit. I tried to explain in the best possible way the difference between EPA permit and production license. You who have been there, who head the EPA and been in the system, were able to shed some light a little more on this issue and tell us, you would have seen the permit, what has changed from then to now in this fourth project, and what we should have had.
All right. Well, of course, you know, I was focusing on the liability damage, the full coverage insurance and assurance for liability. And I got a quick view of the section, and I can't remember. I think it's section 14 in the yellowtail. It is 13 or 14 or something.
Yeah.
I can't remember. But
Go ahead.
guess what, Glenn? The audience, your listeners, have to pay attention to this. Okay? They have the same exact language. They might change a few words here and there that I put into the LISA 2 that was repeated in the Payaro. Remember again, just to give them a little bit of history, LISA 1, which was signed by Mr. Parshram, who was currently there because Mr. Parshram was there 2 years before I arrived. He signed LISA 1 without any coverage whatsoever. When LISA 2 came on my desk, I said, absolutely not. I held it up and I said, you have to have full coverage insurance. They went out there. This was with the previous boss at Exxon. He got 2.5 billion. They're telling me that I made this stuff up. Let it, it's there. I mean, but anyway, it got into I said, well, okay, it has to go into the permit. It's in LISA 2 permit that I put there. It says 12.1, and the readers can go look it up on the EPA website. The LISA 2. It says section 12.1, clause 12 says the Exxon shall, it didn't say may, shall have insurance. Section 12.4 says the EPA must review that insurance policy. Those are the words, insurance policy, to ensure that it's enforced, they don't make any changes, and they're paying their premiums. And 12.5, listen to this, Ben. 12.5 says that there has to be a parent company agreement to guarantee anything over and above that insurance. It's all there in LISA 2. But guess what happens now? They went ahead and started up LISA 2 without satisfying those requirements, those legal requirements. So how do they expect us to believe now they're going to put the same thing in Yellowtail and for us to believe it? They're going on this campaign, first of all, as if this is something new that they're coming up with this full coverage insurance. Hey, I noticed the EPA executive, Mr. Parsham, go out there and he suddenly have religion about this insurance, even though he signed off LISA 1 without any insurance whatsoever. But suddenly, he and the vice president, they're going out there about the Yellowtail, as if this is something new. This was there in LISA 2, it was repeated in the Payaro, and now it's in Yellowtail. But do they expect, they really think that we're fools. They want to let us feel good. Well, okay, we've got full coverage in Yellowtail. We need to ask the question, Glenn, why are they not enforcing the law of the land by making sure that Exxon do not start up any of these projects without meeting the requirements? The LISA 2 has the same exact language, and guess what they did? They started up LISA 2 without any insurance, even though the permit says you have to have insurance and you have to have that parent company guaranteed to cover it. They started up LISA 2 without it. So how do they expect us to believe them by putting it in Yellowtail? So it doesn't matter what you put on paper anymore, Glenn. It's everything is lawlessness now. It doesn't matter what they put on paper. We just can't believe them. They are untrustworthy. We cannot believe them. So they want to peddle this thing so that it can go away. And we should not allow it to go away. The question that you and the rest of the media and the public have to ask them, do you really expect us to believe you when that somehow that you're going to honor this Yellowtail permit when you did not honor the LISA 2 permit with the same language, the same requirements?
And now they're talking, and they have just announced the fifth project.
Yep. It's been a pattern, Glenn. It's been a pattern. The same thing we see with the flaring. When they came, even going back to this, the full coverage. Did you remember, I've been talking about this for years, from the time we got the full coverage, because people people were asking me, how did you do that? How did you get Exxon to sign off on it? So you know that I've been, I've been on Kiana's show and everything,
Yes.
else talking about, because it was a proud moment for the EPA and Guyana.
Yes.
And so we had that, but now they're not honoring it. They went ahead. Now on top of that, they were not just not following the law. You remember the flaring when they started flaring, after I left, and because you remember I had shut them down and stopped them from flaring. And when they continued to flare, the first thing they said, well, think bad. It was during COVID and Guyana need the money and all this kinds of nonsense.
I remember.
And then the Vice President Jagdeo decided to come out and say that his hands were tied because I put in the EIA an allowance of 14 billion cubic feet allowance that they can flare up to that amount. And of course, I went berserk. I challenged him. And then when the media challenged them and said, show us where that thing is in the EIA. And then if you recall, when Mr. Rutledge was before the media, and they asked him, where did you get that 14 billion cubic allowance? And you know what he said? We didn't know anything about it. He threw the EPA under the bus. So they continue with these mistruths and misinformation, so that it's a pattern, Glenn. It's a pattern.
Thanks.
Instead of protecting the people, they're doing whatever Exxon wants. That's what they're doing.
I hear you.
The people's interest.
I hear you loud and clear, Vincent. I hear you loud and clear, and I thank you for that. I wanted you to just confirm and explain the role the EPA plays. All these flaring and cubic. People want to hear about that, but we're more concerned, my friend, about our pocket. What is there for us? One project after the other, after the other, after the other. There is little or nothing we are getting, right?
Without renegotiating the contract, renegotiate, Glenn, we will never get anything more without renegotiating that contract. And this same government, when they were in the opposition, they said they're going to renegotiate the contract.
Yeah.
They got in. Exxon said, and Exxon probably directed them, hey, you better not even talk about renegotiating the contract.
One second, Vincent. I tend to disagree with you on that, where you say that, when you said that we have to get the contract renegotiated before we can harness something back for the people of this country. That one, yes. I'm not buying into that. I'm saying I'm putting that on the side burner. I know we have to renegotiate the contract, but what I'm saying, each other project we are approving, we can hold them at bay.
Oh, absolutely no.
And demand.
Glenn, why did you think that's what I did with Lisa 2? I held up Lisa 2 for like 5 months when they brought it to me, and it didn't have full coverage insurance. I said, well, I'm not signing it. And guess what? They tell me how much money they're going to lose. I said, I don't care how much money you're not going to produce a barrel of oil until you put full coverage in that permit. I absolutely agree. When I was doing the Payaro before I left, because they were pussyfooting around to get the agreement from the parent companies to sign up, because we were meeting with them for about a year in terms of how they had to come up with this agreement among the three parent companies as to how they were going to share the liability, the extra liability.
Yes, I got you very clear. I think we're very clear on insurance. But what I'm focusing on is that we can use every project to claw back billions of American dollars without renegotiating the contract.
I agree.
Taxes.
And that was the point I was making. My point that I was making is, if you hold up, you say, here, you know what? This is what you have to give me, or else I am not signing up.
Exactly. We could have hold. Jagdeo could have hold the Ford project and said, listen, Exxon, I need all my taxes on every drop of oil that you bring up here. You know? Exxon.
I totally agree with you.
Huh?
That's the leverage. No, I totally agree with you. That's the leverage
Exactly.
we have in our hands.
Exactly. The
We
trump
get a
card is in
TPA.
our hands. Drop the
We get a
contract.
TPA.
Drop the
No,
contract.
no. Yeah, without the contract, but the contract is more long term and overall.
Yes, exactly.
But I agree with you.
Thank you.
The EPA had no powers over the contract, but
Eh,
we use
yes.
we use our permit as the leverage, and I just use the insurance thing to show you where you can hold up, where they understand that, and if you hold it up, they're gonna buy with what you want. But you've got you've got to say, you know what, I'm not signing off here until you do this, until you do, X, Y, and Z.
Thank you, boss. Thank you. Have a good night. Thank you.
All right, good time there.
Hello? Good night. Yes. You hear it there? The gentleman says we have to, we can use, is the leverage we have.
You use the bargaining chip.
Yeah, we don't have to touch these things, Bernard. We don't have to touch these things. You have something you wanted to say about Bernard? Yeah? Go ahead. Go ahead. Take the forum.
Yeah, good night, Glenn. Good night to all of our listeners. I was a victim also of choke and rob in Georgetown in 1988. Well, they call it Jim Jones Massacre, the Guyana
What
tragedy.
do you take off your shut up hands?
Nah, take my wallet and watch and stuff.
Sometimes we gotta dig little kicks.
Yeah.
here, you know?
Anyway, they call the Jim Jones Massacre the Guyana tragedy. But I contend that was not a Guyana tragedy. That was an American little mishap in Guyana. The real tragedy, what is happening now with our leaders of the PNC and PPP is doing to this country with all its riches, is now and will forever throughout history be the real Guyana tragedy. And all the people are just quiet and not saying anything, as them and their children's future is being squandered before their very eyes. The real Guyana tragedy is Guyanese brothers and sisters fighting each other over a race, while the foreigners fetching away their riches every single day, fetch away their children's future every single day, leaving them living like rats. When will they wake up? Wake up, Guyana people. If you don't wake up, there will be a real Guyana tragedy.
Can you hold on? All right, thank you, Bernard. Bernard, we have, hello, good evening.
Hello, hi, namaste.
Namaste, sir.
Namaste to my brother Glenn and the staff. Long live Kaieteur News and the staff
Thank you.
for celebrating the 28th year
28th
anniversary.
year,
And I
yes.
hope that we will celebrate the next 2800 year. you know, there is a song play every day on the radio, an NCN. That is sung by Dave Martin. Not a blade of grass, not one kuras and golden apple and jamun. And you know the song.
I know this song.
right?
Yeah, we all know this song.
Yes. And we know the song because Venezuela used to threaten Esquivo Coast, but we are not willing to give up even a blade of grass. Now one jamun.
Yes?
I live to see that the politicians in this country is giving up resources that worth billions and now trillion without even saying anything. Right? And we used to be playing the song every day, and the song is so patriotic, yet our leaders are so unrealistic that they are not even representing this song that is being played every day on the radio. And you know,
Millions of barrels.
old people say that if you want to do something mischievous, if you want to thief, you always like to distract people. You know, you give their attention to something else. Only last week, there was a big launching at the stadium.
Yes, I
You
was
know,
told, yes.
The Caribbean was host CPL cricket.
Yes,
the
cricket.
Caribbean Premier League.
Exactly.
Right? But now our president is such a man with vision that he now put CPL with Carnival right? A blend that will boost and a product that you will sell to the world. You know, that the whole world, the people in the diaspora will come for 2 weeks of sport.
And by what?
Hardstone.
And by what?
And you will so much hotel go get business, so much food go sell them, lady go do their hair and nail, man, business like never before. You know? So that will happen, and boastfully that we wouldn't only hold the final for this year, but 3 years in succession.
You plan
You know?
to sell. You plan to
Yeah.
I only hope he and Bharrat Jagdeo plant cucumber for sell though. For sell them. Because they're gonna need a lot of cucumber and salt and pepper in the stadium.
You know, Glenn, there's a saying that the hands that serve is more worthy and blessed than the lips that pray. Of course, praying is good, but action is better. I listened to the president give a Ramadan speech. Man, I thought it was Prophet Muhammad talking. Yes, I thought it was Prophet Muhammad born back and I give a speech. I will really love him to put that words into action towards the Guyanese people. It was a wonderful speech. I commend him for that. But I will like him to put that in action towards the Guyanese people. Right?
It's the same. He gave a beautiful talk in Dubai too.
Man, excellent. Man.
That I spoke about Monday, right?
Yes.
But the floweriness in it, but 3/4 of it will not be the reality of life. You know, telling
you know if talking in a change one nation or change the world, Guyana, we don't have to death for go heaven. We would have already been in heaven here in Guyana. If talking used to be the thing. You know, what Jim Jones did to the people in Jonestown was crime of the century, but I think our leaders is giving us crime of the millennium.
Well, I said it many lifetimes, many generations to come will suffer with the crime that is being committed today. It's sad, my brother. It's sad. But we have to continue educating and informing the nation as to what is happening in front of their eyes. You see, COVID has taken a root in the world today, and especially in third world countries like Guyana. And we are not. We are pushed back a few years.
I know, but what the leaders them do in Guyana, they might use the COVID and now the war for do a lot of nasty work and dirty work, and they might put blame on this COVID and war. Of course, we know the COVID and the war has caused some kind of disruption, but they might put some blame on this thing, man. I tell you, you know. They blame me for everything. They must have blamed COVID and the war for them. I'll contract too.
Yes.
And aside with the exam, I want to renegotiate and review.
A matter of fact, that is what they said when Vincent tried to get them to acknowledge the full cover insurance in Lisa too. He just spoke about it. He said that Exxon tell them how much billions they will lose if they're not allowed to continue pumping and flaring. And he said, no. I'm talking about full cover insurance. Get your people to sign it, and they didn't sign it until now. So everything is being blamed. And
yes, and not too long from now, they will blame the Almighty too.
I agree with you.
Anyway, my brother Glenn, you take care of all the best. God bless you. And
God bless you too.
Bless Kaieteur. Keep up the good works.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Knowing who these people are, Miss Harris, they would blame our Creator for their misdeeds and mistakes.
Because they've done nothing wrong in the 55 years since we've been independent. None of them, you know. Somebody was saying here on social media, when will we get experts to manage the oil sector?
When will we get?
Experts
Uh-huh.
to manage the oil sector.
No, they don't want. They don't want experts. They don't want advice from people who understand this business.
Nope.
They'll be
Look,
exposed. They'll
look,
be exposed. They don't want
Look,
exposure.
you don't have to have You don't have to have experts in this oil sector anymore. You Google everything and anything you want to know, it's there.
Exactly.
Okay?
Everybody
Look
knows
what
what
I am saying here. Look what Vincent is saying. Look what the newspaper have been reporting on a daily basis. You don't need experts. For the last 7 years, since we discovered oil, tremendous news we have thrown out into into the public.
You can Google oil contracts.
And you Google it, people are talking about it every single day about what we are lacking of, what we should install, what we should have, you know. So you don't have, they don't want experts. Experts will come and cut up their
No, but
runnings.
Glenn, the IMF and the World Bank already tell them, look at it, the ring fencing and stuff that IDD and the World Bank advise them to, right?
Exactly. Yeah. If the financial institutions
Our
that is
development partners here.
that is supporting the oil sector, that have invested in the oil sector, they are giving you a two-side chap. One side they're with the oil company, you know, poking finger at you, and the other side they come in and tell you, hey, at least fix this and fix that, you know. So they're still shining you and showing you, hey, get this done.
Yeah, but they just pointed out the blatant parts that all over the world, everybody know, look and see this blatant, you know,
Yes.
the ring fencing and stuff. How can you not have ring fencing?
Yes.
To protect you, you know, the blatant
Exactly.
the blatant barefaced robbery they're pointing out. So they can always say, no, well, we pointed out to you, your government not doing anything, you understand?
Ring fencing, such a major issue. Take the phone calls.
No, we don't have any telephone calls this time, but let me just quickly remind you of those numbers. They are 226-7453 and 226-7454.
Yes, Ray, you want to take the floor? Go ahead.
Yes. There's no easy way to say this, but when you think about the statements made by Mr. Rutledge, it is no wonder Hugo Chavez referred to white man as being the devil. Here's a man who manages a company that rips us off, plunder our resources, rip away the future of our children, and now he's coming and give our government constitutional advice. And they're sitting there listening to him without saying a word. ExxonMobil, Mr. Rutledge, and the rest of them, including the parent company, thinks that we are little black boys and little black girls. And we have to show them that it's not going to go down, we are not going to go down that route with them. We are bigger than that. When I was born and when you were born, including the rest of the audience here, the literacy, functional literacy in this nation was 97%. And they're treating us like we're idiots. Mr. Rutledge should be pulled by the fold of his pants, dragged to the airport and thrown on a plane, and kicked on the plane for that matter, and sent on his way back to the United States. No, I'm serious. Because the president, you varnished it the other day saying that he sells what you call dreams. This man don't sell dreams, he sells froth. The truth is that a couple of months ago, let me tell you what he did. He said that he's going to make Guyana an innovation hub.
What?
2 weeks ago, he said he's going to make the East Coast the commercial hub of this nation. A week ago, he said he's going to make Region 5 the breadbasket of the Caribbean. This guy is moving at a pace that he doesn't look.
Fast.
To me, as far as I know, the way I see the president, he's blind because he's clueless as to where this nation needs to go.
The man is faster with his tongue than his foot or hands.
He's faster than Usain Bolt.
No, he's clueless. And you know, I would really like to. You see the East Coast that he's saying that is going to be the main commercial zone of this nation. I would like to invite the president, the Chief Justice of this nation, and the Commissioner of Police for 1 hour down the East Coast. And when they see the squalor that he's calling, he's going to make into the commercial zone of this nation. And if he don't vomit, then he's just like a hog. I'll take him and show him where he's taking Guyanese for granted and he's suppressing them economically, and this has been going on for years under the PPP. They're treating people in a subhuman fashion, making them have to crawl constantly to them. It has to stop. Mr. Jagdeo is controlling the NDCs throughout the entire nation, and he's telling them what to do, who to suppress. They choose people who they would suppress and who they would not. So I would like to invite you, the President, the Chief Justice, and the Commissioner of Police, and I'll take you on a tour just for 2 hours to show you first racism, economic suppression, and I'll show you where this nation can never move forward because none of the politicians is willing to bring the people together. One other point I want to make, Mr. Lall. I'm wondering why they removed you from Coffee Square, the Square of the Revolution. You as an Indian man, there is nothing there, no government building, nobody living there. They remove your protest from the Square of the Revolution. I want to know who gave that order. You are trying to mold this nation. You're trying to bring the people together to fight for their rights and their resources. And in that protest, they removed you. I would like to know who gave that order to remove you. And know why they did it.
I wasn't, all right, I wasn't present. Miss Harris was present.
Yes, but it was...
I don't think they removed them. I think they
removed them. Yeah, they removed them and took them to the station.
They arrested some of them to the station because of what, Miss Harris? They said,
I think I was charged with making noise.
or
Loud
charged with
noise
making-
or something. Nothing ever came from it. Just
What
another.
the truck was charged with?
No. they
What was
didn't.
it? I can't remember what the truck was charged with, but we were removed from there. We were told that you can't come here and protest and make noise or whatever at the Square of the
At the
Revolution.
Square of the Revolution.
At the Square of the Revolution, you know, this place where we're supposed
Now, the
to be
Square of the
able
Revolution
to
is a symbol
have our
of
say.
freedom in this nation. No one should have removed that protest. This was a peaceful protest. Okay? It was a fight for what belonged to us, our right, natural rights.
Well, we will go back. I am ready to go back any day. I am ready to go back any day. And I would love them to arrest me. I love them to arrest me. I would go back. I would go
Because
back.
nobody said anything about it.
I would-
Nobody.
Because I would find it very, very, very amusing that I am going to a place of freedom that symbolizes freedom.
Who was
To
Coffee fighting for? Who was he fighting?
Who?
Wasn't Coffee fighting the foreigners who was exploiting the Guyanese? He was fighting for
This is
his
what I'm saying.
freedom.
Yes,
It's a
freedom.
symbol of freedom.
He was fighting the foreigners who were oppressing Guyanese.
Right? So if we Guyanese are fighting foreigners for our freedom,
But there
That-
was
that
a
is the
reason.
perfect place for us to
There
be.
had
Then-
to be a reason because you cannot, no one can tell me. Because Bharrat Jagdeo never took a procession to the Square of the Revolution. Why? Why is it? I want to ask, let us get deep into this conversation. Why
Because
is it?
because he doesn't want freedom. He doesn't want freedom. He wants freedom for himself, not for anybody else. Good evening, sir.
Mr. Lall, I was there that day at the Coffee Square. The next time you're ready for do that protest, I'm gonna bring 3,000 T-shirts, and I'm gonna print it with whatever we want to give away. Our country, our wealth, renew all foreign contracts, and we will give the first 3,000 T-shirts away to the first 3,000 people that attend.
We gotta give some.
Let me
We
get
got.
the T-shirt. Go ahead.
We'll have to give some to our leaders to revere it and ask them to join us too.
Yeah, we could also, yes, that's a good point. Well, I'll go to Lenora and I'll give it away to the people of Lenora like I did in 2015, where I give away 2,000 t-shirts that says regime change. So I think we're going to have to do that again. Let me know when. I'll tell you when I get the shirt and we will organize it again. I like that. That's a good idea.
I hear you. Thanks.
All right, good night. Good night, boys.
Yes, you wanted to talk about something there? You want to talk about Square the Revolution, the phone calls in? Ms. Harris, where are the texts? Where are
There's got somebody here who's
the message.
making some stupid comments. I don't know if you want us to
Raise
put
it.
him on the hot spot.
Yes, raise it.
Dindial Ramnarain is here making a whole bunch of stupid comments.
Go
on
ahead.
Facebook.
What is
Oh,
he
here,
saying?
this is the last one. You see what you all is getting on with to operate nationally in Guyana. This should be censored. There's a lot of hate speech here. This guy just said lots of racism stuff, yet he's talking about racism. Lots of hate speech here. Opposition is good in a country, but this is a shame. This is the example that is being set for young Guyanese.
Who talked about race?
I want to know what the
racism?
racism is. I want to know what the hate speech is.
No,
Does he understand what a hate speech is?
I would invite the president, the police commissioner, and the chief justice, and I'll show them where racism exists. I'll show them where, where you call economic suppression exists. I said that. So that's what he's talking about.
That's not racism.
I said I'll prove it.
Nor is it hate speech.
Yes. So I don't know what he's talking about.
Respond to these people and tell them let's
I
deal
think,
with
you
the
know, a
issue.
lot of them are just reaching. A lot of them can't deal with the issue. They come with these quasi-political stances that are so misinformed.
You know, I looked at
What can you do?
I looked at a short video a friend sent to me today, in which a gentleman lists a set of them working with the government. You know, just every hour they're on social media, cussing out, abusing out, and fight down.
It's always the same sort of people with the same mentality. They come with the same comments. Oh, what happened to the 18 million? Wasn't the
Yeah.
18 million found in the bank account? Are
But-
you going to question the governor of the bank?
Yeah, but besides
So,
18 million.
the 18 million.
Now.
What about the 9.5 billion?
No, what about the 29?
Like, ask about these
the
things.
29 billion American dollars.
Well, all these
18 million.
And they care
you can't
about
even
18
buy a cake
million.
of soap
Exactly.
for them to wash their face with or their hands.
But it's the same thing,
we
it's
should
the
be
same
concerned
issue, the
is about
same
Mr. Rutledge
mentality.
now trying to give us constitutional advice on how to run our nation. You know,
Exactly.
that's what you should be concerned about.
That's what they should have been talking about. But you know,
that's
Miss
the thing.
Harris, don't be upset with Dindial.
Dindial, yeah.
Don't be upset with the gentleman. Leave him alone.
He's just
He-
ignorant.
No. He's not ignorant. He's being paid to say those things. You know, it's not coming from his heart. You know, he
Yeah.
doesn't want to say that. You know, it's
They
like I've,
always say the
you know,
same
I've been saying,
thing.
let them
It's so
let them
boring.
dispute what I'm saying here.
Exactly.
But that's the thing, when you're arguing with somebody, right, and your opponent can't respond to whatever contention you make, whatever part of the argument you put forward,
Exactly.
then what does a weak arguer do? What, they insult you?
Personal attack.
Yeah, they launch personal attacks and they insult you. So that's you know, that's what these people do. They could never address the issue, so they talk about, oh, what did Burnham do? Burnham is dead and gone. Burnham's bones are dust right now.
Yeah.
So why are we still
They're
harking
talking
on about what
building a new
Burnham
nation
did?
and building big cities and fancy towns, and they have their people that supported them for generations living in squalor.
Because the people
You know-
want to be living like that. Their people are happy to be their little
That is how
lackeys
they
and their little, you know, and they get a little, I don't know, they feel a bit good because their people is our people in government now. So we have the power.
You know,
That's what they like.
Ms. Harris, earlier I told somebody that this is what, in third world countries, this is how leaders behave. This is how they operate. once they can keep the nation,
Stupid.
their supporters, their voting constituency, once you could keep them numb, keep them dumb, keep them dotish, you know,
That's
keep
it.
them, let them stay uneducated, they're happy.
Exactly.
Because especially if you could keep them poor at the same time.
And that is
Because
exactly what is going on.
Exactly.
because you're poor and you're stupid. So you're always stretching your mouth, stretching your hands, and stretching
anything
your
else you
foot
can
And
stretch.
every now and then, and then you give them a few dollars.
to the leaders.
Give that to
So
$25,000
so you give them a little 25,000, a little 19,000 for them to buy uniform for their children for go to school,
And they have to go
and life goes on, right? And until we begin to educate these people and tell them to keep that 19,000 and push it up somewhere. You understand? We're not gonna change the mentality of these leaders. You know,
If
we
they
got
want
to get them to change.
If they want to talk about racism, you tell me why the civic component of the PPP cannot present a presidential candidate. Why they never allow the civic component of the PPP civic to present a presidential candidate. If they want to talk racism, let's talk racism. Why they put the five, what you call frontline ministers of the government, they're all blacks, all the responsibility. You talk about business, talk about foreign affairs, you talk about infrastructure, you talk about national security. Every one of them is being run by a black man. You know why? Because when the time comes, they try to present themselves as being plural. But when the time comes and the government fail, it's business that fail, foreign policy that fails, infrastructure that fails, national security that fails. And who are in the front line? That is exactly what they're doing. And they present themselves there as being like plural to the international community.
We're there for all.
And it's just token.
We have
So
them all.
Jagdeo was educated at a university that was specially built for what you call as an offensive or counter-offensive against the non-aligned movement. That's where he was educated. He doesn't know better. Let me repeat, he was educated at a university that was specially built in Russia for a counter-offensive against the non-aligned movement and to promote Russian ideology.
I hear you, my friend.
So
I hear
Jagdeo
you.
cannot tell me about racism.
I hear you. I hear you. Matter of fact, he had a case before the court with Freddie Kissoon, and where he was challenged, and he never showed up in the court to defend that matter. So, having said that, Josh,
Yes, sir.
remember today we celebrated 28 years.
Yes.
They said the PNC went in there for 28 years. So don't be surprised you hear them say that Glenn Lall, having celebrated 28 years with the newspaper, he's a PNC. I want to go have a drink, a glass of wine tonight, to celebrate this 28 years. But before I go, Josh, let me end by telling the nation something what ex-Prime Minister of England Tony Blair once said. He said the cake of the universe is more than enough for every single one of us to have a bite, to have a piece of, but it's not being equally distributed. Hence we have this disparity between the rich, the filthy rich, and the dirt poor of the world. With that, I say namaste and hope to see you guys back on Wednesday at 7:20 p.m.